Here's the magic. When you are linked with the right people that are on a mission to serve, to love, to help you win at the game of life, there is no question about what you can do when you band together to sow greatness into the world.
Welcome to the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Your guide on this journey is Amy Sylvis, ready to unlock the keys to a life of true abundance. We're diving into everything from financial freedom and optimal health to meaningful relationships, geographic freedom, and everything in between. It's about creating a life rich in experiences, purpose, and joy. Get ready for empowering conversations, expert insights, and real-life stories that inspire you to live abundantly. If you're ready for the secrets to an abundant life, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started.
Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Listeners, welcome. I have a huge treat for you all today. It's a treat for me. My name is Amy Sylvis. If you don't know who I am, because the podcast is growing, I am the founder and CEO of Sylvis Capital, where we connect folks to hands-off real estate investment opportunities in the commercial real estate space. And I have a dear friend, a business partner, an absolute phenom, Dr. Erin Hudson, with us today. Erin, so great to have you today.
It is such an honor, Amy, to be here. I'm telling you, you are one of my favorite people. And when you asked if I would come join for your podcast, it was an absolute hell yes. So I hope we can add some serious value to your listeners today. It's an honor.
I love it. I love it. And so for some context for people, I've known Erin for over 5 years, and she was a part of a group of business partners I partnered with to get started in my real estate investing journey as a general partner. So we have, I think I was calculating maybe $80 million in real estate together, Erin. I know. Wild, all over the country. And that's just the beginning of our relationship. I admire Erin so much, and we're going to get into it, but the challenges that she's had, what she's overcome. And we were even talking at the beginning of the podcast, we need more women in this space, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's investing. So we're going to hit on all of those notes, but y'all, you're really in for a treat today because Erin makes me want to run through walls because she's so powerful in her mindset, right? That's where it all begins. So Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. That's like a loaded, you asked the question. I feel like I can go in so many different directions, but I'll keep it somewhat short. First and foremost, I'm a mom of 5. I've got 5 beautiful children. I actually grew up in Southern California. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I had a couple wellness centers, and I will say along that road of having 30 headaches, team members, you really start to learn so much about yourself and all the exciting things that are out there. And I guess I could start and say, look, I grew up in a home where I was not fed with a silver spoon. My parents worked 9-to-5 jobs. A lot of times we were fending for ourselves. It was rare that we would sit down and have dinner at the dinner table. And I just knew at a very, very young age that that is not the way the good Lord wants us to live our lives. He wants us to have abundance in every area. And so I remember thinking it was a little bit ass backwards, somebody working a 9-to-5. No disrespect to anyone, but I know that we all have this beautiful entrepreneur spirit inside each of us. And some want to exercise and walk it out in a beautiful way, and others could care less to water that seed. But I was one of those that truly desired to have freedom in my life. As much as freedom is overplayed, I wasn't the type that I want to be my own boss. I don't want to be told what to do, and so on and so forth. So while I was in practice, I started to acquire single family rental properties, and within 2 years acquired 26 rental properties. And I went, holy smokes, this mailbox money is amazing. I think I'm on to something, and shame on me if I just quit there. And so let's just say it was a short progression from single family to into the multifamily arena. And when I got a taste of that mailbox money, I knew that I could not unlearn it. And it was now my responsibility to show my 5 children how they too, in due time, can make money while they sleep. And I've been completely passionate, on fire. And just like Amy, we know that it is something that is possible and attainable for everyone if they so desire. And her and I are both on a mission to help the women in this world rise up and take control of their finances and get in the game. So there you go.
I love it. See y'all what I'm talking about? Now you get it. Now you all understand just in that short little vignette from Erin what I was talking about. So my goodness, we talk about abundance on this podcast, Erin. And I know one of the ways you got started in the kind of graduating from single family to multifamily, one of the ways you found your business partners was you were actually talking. I don't want to tell the story. I want you to tell it if you would. You got up in front of a room and decided to talk about some way you and your family were giving back to those in need in another part of the world. Can you tell that story? Because I feel like that really, I don't want to sum you up in just one story, but it's such a great way to get to know your heart and who you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. Listen, it is a great story, but with sometimes those highs, there's got to be a low behind it someplace. And so I will tell you, when I first got started into real estate, I had joined the same program that Amy was a part of in order to learn the craft of multifamily and get the skill sets. And unfortunately, I ended up partnering with a husband and wife that were part of this group. And to say that the first purchase I had of an apartment building was just a little over $5 million, over 100 doors. And I would be lying if I didn't say I fell flat on my face after making that purchase. And it wasn't per se anything I had done except for making a bad partnership choice. But it ended up going sour with the husband and wife that I was doing business with. And I remember thinking at one point, if this is what multifamily is about, I got nothing to do with it. And fast forward a month later, the group that Amy and I were a part of, they put on this beautiful, amazing event, 1,000 people in the audience. And I will never forget the day that we went to this event and I got called up to walking up to receive this award because I had closed on 100 plus doors. And I felt like the chick for the first time ever with imposter syndrome. I did not know what it was until this time. And I was the girl walking to the stage with my tail between my legs just because of this previous deal that went sideways. I go up to receive the award and the MC hands it to me and she goes, "Now tell everybody what you did in celebration of your property that you just purchased." And all I'm thinking is the negative, right? Lo and behold, I've got the deer in headlights look and she goes, "And the single mamas." And I was like, oh. So then, of course, everything changed. And I just shared with the audience, listen, there is something that's near and dear to our heart. And it's me taking my children to third world countries and just loving on those that are hurting, that have far less than we do, that are homeless, that are orphans, and et cetera. And so that year in particular, we were bringing homes to the single mamas living in the trash dump. And they were 200 square foot cinder block homes that we would build for $5,500. And so I'd already previously built 12 with my family. And I said, after I close on this apartment building, I'm going to build my 13th home. So sure enough, we built the 13th home. And I was explaining to the audience, I was like, if you ever get a chance to help those that are truly, truly in need, and you can be present, not just give money, but actually physically there and be a part of it and see the smiles on these faces and the hearts that are wrecked. I said, your heart will be wrecked. And I'm on the stage and I start to get tears in my eyes and I started getting this stirring in my belly that I could not dismiss. And I couldn't kick it. And all of a sudden out of my mouth, I said, I'd love to build 2 more homes if I can get 2 people to match me. And I'll never forget the silence that was in the room. You could hear a pin drop. You literally could. And it felt like what was a minute felt like it was 10 minutes. And I thought, what in the world did I just do? I'm at a multifamily event and here I'm asking for money for a philanthropic cause. And in the back of the room, this sharp, stunning man raises his hand and he's like, I'm in for $5,500. I'll build a home. And all of a sudden, another woman in the front row says, I'm in for $5,500. Long story short, within 10 minutes, we had raised $55,000 and built 10 homes for the single mamas living in the trash dump. Why am I sharing this story? I'm sharing this story for twofold. Remember, I told you I had the bad partnership. I was the girl that wanted to give up, throw the talent and say, I'm done with this multifamily space if this is what it's like.
Bet.
Number 3 is all I know, whether you're a believer or not, I serve a good, good God, as does Amy, and he does things that blow your mind. And why I say that is because 6 months later, Quattro Capital comes together, and guess who the partners of Quattro Capital are? That strapping man that was wise and brave, that rose to his feet in the back of the room, he raised his hand, and he's now my partner today, Maurice Philogene. Amazing man. The other one is Kim Wenland, the woman in the front row. She's my partner today. It came together, and my goodness, when you are linked, here's the magic. When you are linked with the right people that are on a mission to serve, to love, to help you win at the game of life, there is no question about what you can do when you band together to sow greatness into the world. And so I know that was long, but my goodness, I feel like I still wake up every day. My hair raises just a little bit because I feel so incredibly blessed to work with the most brilliant souls that I just absolutely love and adore. And then when you add another +1 in, Amy, who we've had the absolute pleasure to work with, it's been astounding. So
Incredible.
sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, what a great story. Well, and the fun thing is we had Mo on this podcast and we had Kim on this podcast. So those of our longtime listeners know exactly who you're talking about. And I just love the context of how that relationship began, because it wasn't, hey, let's get together and make a whole bunch of money. Nothing wrong with that. But it came from a heart set of we're going to give, we're going to care for others. We are like-minded in our values, right? And I think that's such a beautiful thing about what you all do at Quattro Capital, is really show people, yes, money, of course, look, we need money. Money is important in this world, but are we centering everything around that? Or can we have an and of caring for others, being giving, and being mindful of the needs of other people, not just ourselves, right?
I love that you say that, Amy, because here's the thing. There's people out there that will say, oh yeah, we're givers and we are all about philanthropy. And you're like, well, tell me what you've done, right? And so it's so funny because with our team, we are huge givers. All the money that comes in, a portion of what we're bringing in, we actually push some back out. And I remember telling my team, I think one of the things we did is we donated $50,000 for housing for veterans. And I remember telling my team, like, oh my gosh, we've got to put this out there on social media. It's so exciting. And I remember the team saying, no, you're supposed to give and not take recognition. And my thing was this, my stance on it was not to be braggadocious. It was to spur others on to grab and get on the wagon and also sow goodness out into the universe, because what we give, we get back 100-fold. And the more we can shout that from the mountaintop, the more we can band with other people, get flanked with them, because we are better together.
Yes. Yes. Well, Erin, and this really tugs at my heartstrings. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but finding ways to encourage women specifically to be in this space. You and I work with investors. You and I work with others that are leading syndication teams, all of these things. And I don't know about you, but I commonly hear women express meekly that they weren't really told that they could be investors, or maybe they're not confident that they have what it takes, or, oh gosh, their husbands handle it. And there's nothing wrong with any of these things, but I think you and I share this heart set of showing women that not only do they have what it takes, but they've got a lot of qualities that just inherently could make them incredible within this space. Can you talk a little bit about being such a powerhouse woman in the investor space, and any encouraging words you'd have for other women maybe considering this?
Well, I think I love that you touch on this, Amy, because it's so true. I have to be just completely honest with you. In the multifamily space, it is a man's world. It just is. But I always say, Amy and I are going to change that, right? We're going to make it. We want women to come in. We want them to feel empowered. And when Amy and I are talking to investors, it's very common that you hear women say, well, I don't know. My husband's the shot caller. My husband's the one that really brings in the money. And I have to remind them, you know what? You're a mom of 3 mighty fine kids, and that is the hardest job in the universe. But what is so important is husbands and wives uniting and coming together and allowing the wife to be empowered and take control of the finances. And so Amy and I are having conversations with other women, and the important thing is to ask the right questions. and to learn about where they are in life, what they desire, what makes them tick, what would they really like to do. And sometimes in talking, we find out that maybe the wife has used to work at such and such company and no longer is with them. So what does that mean? Most of the time there's some type of IRA in place and they've been sending money to their 401k. Now they're no longer with the company. Well, for all of you out there, I have some good news. If you have left a company and you no longer work from them or for them, you actually have the capability to take that money and send it over to a different custodian. And with that different custodian, it's called, I don't want to confuse you, but it's called a self-directed IRA. With that self-directed IRA, it makes it possible for you to be able to invest in real estate. You can invest in gold and silver if you wanted to. You can invest in buy cows. The bottom line is a self-directed IRA allows for you to be in control of your money and you tell it where to go, not to allow it to sit in Fidelity and be in the stock market that does a whole lot of this, right? So it's a matter of we teach women how to get in control with their finances and then allocating it to other top operators that are buying apartment buildings. And you know what? Amy and I would agree that Quattro Capital is pretty awesome. And so working with Amy at Quattro Capital, we buy apartment buildings and a couple other things that we do, and we help other people's money grow. There's nothing more fulfilling than exiting out of an apartment building and selling it and seeing that woman that perhaps we had worked with win and double her money or make between that 17 and 20% a year. And it gives us a chance to clap our hands and say, way to go, woman, way to rise up, way to grab the reins, because it is so liberating for men and women, but for women that didn't even know it was possible, to celebrate with them when there is an uptick in something exciting that has happened to grow their hard-earned money. So you can see we clearly get pretty passionate about it.
I love it. I love it. And that's the statistics. I don't know if you ever read Kim Kiyosaki's book called Rich Woman, but it's actually how I got started in this industry. And the statistic that she shares of, look, the stark reality is half of all marriages end in divorce. So even if you're lucky enough to not be a part of that statistic, men die sooner than women. So the statistics around women when they are widowed and what happens to their wealth and how much poverty increases once they're widowed, people don't like to talk about it, but it's breathtaking because the women often haven't been participating in their financial analysis. Their husbands, their partners may have been doing it. Then they're left to turn over their money to a financial planner who, some are great, but maybe some aren't in their best interest. So starting, and I love what you're doing, Erin, of teaching children too, empowering. I know you have boys and girls and teaching them from a young age. What a blessing for your kids and encouraging other mamas to teach their kids as well.
Yeah, I love that you say that about those statistics that from that book, because listen, it is stark. And at the same time, divorce rate is over 50% right now. We don't want to get stuck on divorce and it's real negative, but we also need to prepare for the worst. And so if there's a way for us to help women rise up and take control, this is exactly where you're going to see it. I would love nothing more than to get on a call with you. Amy would love nothing more than to get on a call with you. Again, whether it's men or women, but it's just teaching you how to take control of your finances. And even if you have to start a little bit smaller, the most important thing is to start, to get in the habit, to prepare. And I love to share with others, as I know, Amy, you do too. If somebody has got $100,000 to invest, be willing to start. And that's where Amy and I get on calls and we work with investors and we help people win at the game of life. And the beautiful part is Amy's heart. For those of you that have had the pleasure and the blessing of getting on a call with her, you know the desire is for her to see you win. The more we focus on others and what makes them tick and what helping them win at the game of life, as I said before, we are so incredibly blessed, but it does nothing more than put a smile on our face to see you take action, rise up and go for the gold, right?
So well said. So well said. Can you talk about teaching your children, getting your children involved in what that looks like? Because I'm positive there are parents here that think gosh, I really want my parents to be my children, excuse me, to be financially educated. Well, we want our parents to be too, but we've got control over, what we pour into our children. So
That's right. Yeah, no, I love that. So here's the deal. Yes, Amy and I buy apartment buildings, and it's a little bit tougher for children to be a part of purchasing apartment buildings and so forth. There's got to be a lower barrier of entry. And so with my kids at 14 and 15 years old, we have shipping container tiny homes that we sell and we build, and other people use them for Airbnbs or for long-term living. And so my kids have their own, and they run their own real estate ventures with that. The cool part is my oldest daughter, she got started at 16. She had a single family property when I was back in the day, when I was into the single families. And in 4 years, she doubled the value of it. She sold it, and then she went and got in one of our apartment buildings. So that stuff, friends, gets me fired up. With the two kids that have the shipping container tiny homes, every quarter they have to bring their spreadsheets, and then they get paid out. And it's so cute to see the friendly competition that happens in our house. I'll never forget the day we were sitting at the dinner table, and my child at the time, the 15-year-old and the 14-year-old, my 14-year-old is a girl, she's a little more flighty. And then my 15-year-old boy is super analytic, super numbers guy. And I'll never forget at the dinner table, I said, listen, if y'all want to get paid, you got to bring me your spreadsheet. We'll go over it together, and then I'll issue payment. My daughter goes, I don't know how to do a spreadsheet. And my 15-year-old goes, listen, it's no big deal. I'll help you do the spreadsheet, but you're just going to have to pay me 5% of your earnings. So to hear the friendly competition that happens at the dinner table, like, this is wonderful. And that's where it goes back to, once you know that we're onto something great to help build wealth, you can't unlearn it. And it's our job to teach the younger generation, whether they're your children or they're your adopted children or they're kids that you're going to take in under your wing. It's our job to teach them how to be entrepreneurial, to help them win at the game of life, and to give them the skill sets that are going to help them so that they too can have multiple irons in the fire and be able to build a legacy and create freedom that one would die for. Right?
Have you ever thought about having multiple streams of income? Instead of relying on just one stream of income where you're trading your time for money, how would you like to free up more of your time and live a more abundant life? As a listener of the show, you're invited to attend one of our upcoming trainings where I'll give you an inside look into how you can add passive income and get all the other perks of recession-resistant real estate investing without the headaches of being a landlord. I'll also be sharing some hidden mistakes to avoid and the criteria I personally look for when evaluating potential investment opportunities. To reserve your seat for free, go to sylviscapital.com/webinar. Again, that special link to reserve your seat for free is sylviscapital.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you on the training. And now back to the show. Wow. And I love, Erin, that you're not just giving them money, right? You're getting them involved. You're teaching them the skills, because no one can take that away from them. The reality is entrepreneurship investing isn't always just a straight line up and to the right. We're just going to be real. Over time, yes, we want everyone to do well. But if you're equipping your children with that experience, you're supervising, you're teaching, you're coaching, they're even helping each other like you outlined, that's going to serve them for the rest of their life. It's just so impressive.
It's so fun. Absolutely is so fun.
That's great. Well, Erin, so tell me, you mentioned the tiny homes. I want to hear a little bit more. Is there more you can share about what that looks like, how that's different than apartment investing? Because we all hear about diversification, and who doesn't want to be diversified? So you diversified yourself. Let's hear about that, if you don't mind sharing.
No, for sure. So we can build shipping container tiny homes, and they're roughly anywhere from 200 square feet, just under 200 square feet, and just around 400 square feet. And let's be honest, there is a housing shortage massively. So if you could buy these units and be able to get them in your hands within 30 days and put them on your land, they make for a great way for you to create a little cash cow. And really, I think for us right now, we're working with West Texas, and we are in the middle of just getting ready to sign a memorandum of understanding to bring 100 of these to just over 10 acres. I don't want to give too much information because we're under still a non-disclosure, but There in West Texas, homeless were congregating underneath a bridge. And so the county just gave land to us to be able to create a development so that we can house the homeless there. And so they've asked us to bring in our housing to them. And so it's multi-pronged. It can be for long-term living. It can be for Airbnb. It can be for veterans, homeless shelter. But basically the bottom line is you could have your own living unit for under $30,000. And so you figure with ours, we were able to rent ours for $900 a month. So do the math on that. 900 times 12 months, you're talking over $10,000 divided by a $30,000 price point. You're talking about a 30% return annually. That's at a high level, but truly if something like that interests you, because here's the thing, Amy, with you and I or with Quattro, it's $100,000 minimum to get in the game. But here you can actually have and own your own for as little as 30,000. And there's a way for you to make a nice little uptick of over 30%. So the barrier of entry is much lower. And that's what I wanted to create. I wanted kids to be able to get on board, link up with their parents and be able to create a little cash cow asset for them. And so it's worked out beautifully with us getting these out into the marketplace.
Oh, wow. I bet a lot of people listening to this are going to be interested. So we'll make sure to include at the very end, we'll talk about how to get in touch with you and we'll include all that in the show notes. But yeah, I love that point of diversification and the impact. I can't wait to hear what y'all are doing in West Texas. That isn't just that sounds like a solution to a pretty heartbreaking problem that's going on in that area.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, I will tell you, because it is in city limits and sometimes it can be difficult to get shipping container homes within the city limits, but it looks like it's getting through the process of getting closer to a thumbs up on that. And as soon as we do that, then it's a rinse and repeat pilot that we can take throughout Texas and duplicate the efforts into other counties and cities. So we're super excited. I've got some pretty incredible partners on that. So it's fun. Yeah.
Ever the innovator, ever the entrepreneur. Erin, I just love it. I love it so much. And let's hit people with a third thing that you and Quattro are working on, right? Diversification. You have something that fits another kind of aspect of investing. Can you tell us a little bit about the Quattro Fixed Income Fund?
Yes, I would love, love, love to. So let's just put it this way. Yes, Quattro has purchased, my goodness, 24 apartment buildings. We sold 10 of them, currently have 14 in the works. We have had crazy success and excitement, been able to give our investors over that 20% return on all 10 of those exits that we've had. 20% return annually is awesome. But let's all be frank for a moment. The market has shifted just in the last couple years. Interest rates, inflation, all the things in our marketplace. And so we have not recently purchased an apartment building because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We're not going to haphazardly purchase something if the market isn't yielding the price that the seller is wanting, right? So at the same time, our 750 plus investors want to continue to keep their money making babies, and we got to keep their money hard at work. So what we've done is we created our fixed income fund where you can earn between 8 and 10% on your money by putting it in there, and you get a guaranteed return. People love options, and so we have two options. It's like you can either come in and you can have simple interest, which you get paid out quarterly. If it's under $100,000, you get paid out quarterly on that 8%. But it's a 3-year hold. So if you opt to get paid at maturity, you actually let your money compound and it ends up being just over a 9% return. So many would say, like, who is this perfect for? I could tell you, like, the perfect candidate is somebody that has a Roth IRA in particular. And I say that because, look, if they put their money in, it's in the Roth IRA and they're, let's say, 40 years old, they can't touch that money and spend it anyways. So you might as well have it compound and earn over that 9% return. And then I think the most beautiful part is if we're in the position to do so, well, let me rewind. Some people want to get into multifamily, even though we have not, you got to kiss 100 frogs before you find the prince.
True.
It's a little bit harder to find them. We're still on the lookout. If we do, we have those that really want to get in one of our apartment buildings. So what we allowed is we said, you come into the fixed income fund. And if we are in that position to be able to give your funds back, you can then opt to go into the apartment building and not be in that 3-year hold. So there is some pretty awesome options with that. And again, it's how can we continue to grow and build your money? And that's what we found is working really beautifully. And our investors are absolutely loving it for sure.
That's great. It's all about options, right? Not every option is perfect for every single person. So meeting the investors where they are, whether it's investing in a multifamily syndication, whether it's the tiny homes, whether it's the fixed income fund, folks are in control. They get to choose. They get to explore what works best for them. I love it. I love it so much. I cannot believe how fast this time has gone, Erin. But as we close out, I'm thinking about the woman or the man who has been really interested in real estate, wants to diversify outside of the stock market. Maybe they want to invest in real estate on their own. Maybe they want to do a tiny home. Whatever they want to do in the real estate space, but they're just nervous. They're new, they're nervous. What encouraging words would you give them that I know you've given so many people to help them get started?
Well, listen, I always say, I like to give the analogy, it's the jockey and the horse, right? And so the horse, let's just say, is the apartment building. And many people get tantalized by this beautiful apartment building. And oh my gosh, it was just built and it's so pretty and it's in a great area. And then you have the jockey, and the jockey is the operator or the team that's running that whole entire operation and seeing that business plan be executed. And so I always say the amateur bets on the horse, but that wise one should really be betting on the jockey, i.e. the operator, because the operator is the one that takes that business plan and takes it across the finish line and yields beautiful fruit, i.e. a phenomenal return. So what I would tell you is Amy's a great person. Link up with Amy, really vet the groups or the companies that you're looking to work with, check their track record, and always remember this. You could be in the single family house, but remember, if that tenant moves out, you have no rent you're collecting. Or you could be a part owner of 100 doors, even though you don't own 100%. You can have 100 doors, and even if 10 went vacant, remember, you have 90 that are bringing in the cash. So whether you're getting paid out on those quarterly payments or you're getting a nice good pop at the end when it sells, it is the best way to win. Mitigate the liabilities, set yourself up properly, get around the right people that are making moves, taking names, have a great track record, and remember, take action.
I love it. Amazing. Erin, thank you so much. What's the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
Yes. I would say this. You can certainly go to our website, which is thequattroway.com, and that's 2 T's in Quattro, thequattroway.com. You can find me all over social media. I'm very much about the mindset and about getting in the game. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. It's Erin Christiansen Hudson. On LinkedIn, it's Dr. Erin Hudson. And hey, listen, for the listeners, y'all are pretty special. If you're listening to my girl, Amy, you can always reach out to me via text. My phone number is 949-510-3351. Shoot me a text message. I'll send you back my calendar and I will make time for you because I want nothing more than to see you win. As I've said time and time again, if I help you get what you want, I'm already going to get what I want, just as the same way my girl Amy thinks.
I love it.
I'll have a good one.
Thank you so much, Erin. Really appreciate you. And listeners, thank you so much for joining us on another podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good one.
Bye now.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will empower you on your journey towards abundance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us, and it helps others discover the secrets to an abundant life too. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn, Amy Sylvis. Keep striving for your goals, nurturing your relationships, and embracing the adventure that is life. Until next time, we wish you an abundantly fulfilling day.